Wasn't expecting today to be so overcast, but sometimes you just gotta have work outside. I've been a big advocate for mobile recording, mobile vlogging, improving your home videos, using these for more professional uses, even up to like interviews and documentary kinds of footage. One of the things that's always gonna help you improve your mobile video is improving your mobile audio. The folks at Saramonic sent over their new wireless mics for me to take on a test drive, and you're gonna hear all of the audio coming from these microphones. This style of prosumer microphone is becoming one of my favorite to show off. I've been showing from a couple of other companies how we can easily add a receiver and a pair of transmitters so that we can move our audio off of camera perspective. We can always slap one of those little mini boom mics onto a camera or onto a phone, but the camera perspective, you're still gonna hear things closer to the camera than you will your subject if you're trying to record someone out in a more open environment. I think one of the best ways to kind of keep the focus on your subject is to literally put the microphone on your subject. According to the Saramonic spec sheet, the range on these transmitters and receivers, they're not quite as distantly able to record as some of the competing options out there, but with around 100 meters at clear line of sight, I feel you're in really good territory. When we're taking mics like these out into the field, there aren't many situations, there aren't many use cases where I feel like I needed 30 feet more range. It's more, am I keeping a stable connection? What Saramonic is doing here is also leaning into the accessories conversation about how we can better manage these little clip-on microphones. This kit includes the receiver, which is currently on my phone right now on a little mini tripod, and a pair of wireless microphones. Getting the tech specs out of the way, this is really fun. We've got touch screens so that we can control features on the transmitters. There's also like a little touch panel on the receiver. They talk to each other really easily. And we've got a couple of different options for routing audio out of the receiver into whatever type of recording equipment you might want to use. Not even video equipment. We also get a cable. The cable is included. We just want to run this to another type of audio recorder or receiver. The great thing about watching this tech cycle, we get on transmitter recording. This is one of the biggest features that I think is important for people looking at stepping up their capabilities. A wireless signal can get interrupted, especially at the frequencies here that are very similar to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. If you were to try and use this out on like a convention show floor, we'd probably be hearing a lot more interference, but I'd always be able to pull the audio directly off of the transmitter. And what's impressive to me, for such a lightweight little widget of technology, they've also managed to bump up the battery capacity over some of these competing options. Saramonic is estimating around 9 hours of transmitting and recording time from these transmitters, which is pretty remarkable. That really helps alleviate some of the longevity concerns you might have out in the field, because if your wireless mic dies, you're gonna need to be able to recharge it. We can't swap the battery. Professional gear usually uses more like AA, so you can quickly pop those batteries out, get back up and recording again. But if you could turn this on and just go all day from like sun up to sundown, well, then you're not as concerned about whether or not you need to recharge in the field. And the receiver runs even longer, but that also might be a nice handy perk where you can't charge the transmitters directly. We have a series of pogo pins that only connect to the receiver, and the receiver is what's responsible for charging the entire system. It helps you fold them all up so it's an even more compact little nugget of audio tech, but that means you can't use these independently. Like, I couldn't just stick this to myself, go 3 days on just one transmitter. I'm always gonna have to have the receiver around to make sure I can recharge the whole system. But with that receiver, plugging these individual transmitters back into that base, into that cradle, we get one of the features that I've just been begging for on the Rode Wireless Go 2. The built-in storage here just shows up like a USB mass storage device. It just shows up like a flash drive when you connect it to an Android phone. The Rode Wireless Go 2 required the use of an app on a PC or a Mac. You can't plug directly into a phone. So let's say I'm recording this right now directly into the audio input on my Vivo X90 Pro, but if the wireless signal got interrupted and I needed to pull the audio here, I would be able to do that all on the phone. I wouldn't be able to do that on the Rode Wireless Go 2. I'd need another computer involved in that file transfer. All of the tech stuff here is pretty cool. I am using these on embargo pre-release beta firmwares. I did have one troubling recording session where the locally stored audio was a little bit glitchy. Made me a little nervous. I contacted the folks at Saramonic. They are looking into that issue, and they will be issuing some updates, a firmware update, when these things are more broadly available, especially when they hit retail channels. I expect that they'll be able to polish that up, especially with the system that they've got for having an app on your phone that can then update these microphones over OTAs. The recording quality is pretty good. These also expand on the frequency response range of a lot of our little mini microphones. That you need to be a little careful with. Fully extending the low frequency side of this means that these mics might do a better job of picking up some undesirable rumble. Say you're trying to record around large trucks, you might need to go in and edit that audio, maybe give it a bit of a roll off. But I know for a lot of field mixing, for a lot of location mixers out there, they'll often look at something like that and think, hey, it's better to have that audio data than have too severe of a roll off and your audio come out a little bit thin, especially if you want a sense of the environment around you. It's one of the reasons why I'm recording this at a park. You might be able to hear distantly some of the kids playing or people walking around in the path behind me. I still want a sense of this environment. I don't want to sound hyper isolated when I'm recording out in the field. I just want my voice to be more present than what's around me, and that's why the proximity of the microphone matters more than the directionality of like a boom microphone or a camera point of view microphone coming from your camera. The accessory kit is also on point. We get this really nice flight case that properly segments the transmitters and the receiver. It also came with a little sliding phone mount. I have a phone mount on my tripod that I really like, so I'm not currently using that. You can see we've got these little wind muffs that clip into the microphone element on the transmitters. And like I said, everything here is magnetic. So we've got multiple options for mounting and housing these microphones. The most immediate is what I'm using right now. We just have these magnetic pads with spares. They gave you some extras too, just in case you might lose one, that snap this through clothing. Not quite as aggressive as the magnets on the Rode Wireless Go 2, but less concerning that you might actually break that magnet. I have had one of those Rode magnets break on me just because the action is so aggressive. But if you want, you can also use one of these pads that just gives you a little clip. So if someone doesn't want the magnet directly up against their skin, or if they've got a button-up shirt and you just want to kind of adjust that way, not only can you clip it in, but you have full action on that magnet to adjust the angle of the microphone where you need it. And because of the magnetic action here, we have a similar mounting point on the receiver as well. And I have a cold shoe mount that sticks the receiver onto my little tripod assembly here. And that's been working out really great. Multiple cables and connections. We have a USB-C audio output. They include a lightning connector audio output, in addition to just a straight up USB-C to USB-A cable. There's really not much lacking here. We also have the ability to monitor output through a little 3.5mm headphone jack. We've got a great Venn diagram overlap of consumer accessibility, ease of use. The setup is really quick, but then we can really expand on this with some of the more professional uses or some of those concerns where you might have over recording audio, or what kind of characteristics, what kind of noise reduction you might want baked directly into that audio file. I love this kind of stuff because I had a very limited amount of time to set this video up. And literally the setup was put phone on tripod, connect receiver to the phone, push record, and snap this microphone to my shirt. And I've been able to jump right into recording a video, which I think sounds pretty good. The only omission that I find, especially at the price point that Saramonic is going to be delivering this at, this is definitely more of a visible, you're not going to use something like this for more fictional content where you might need to hide a transmitter. There is no input for an additional microphone. You're always going to be using the microphone that's built into the transmitter. Unfortunately, you can't attach another lavalier mic if you want the transmitter out of the way with just a smaller microphone up. But one of the fun things that you can do with this is through the app, you can also change up the visual, the screen. You can put a different wallpaper, put a different skin. I'm still waiting for this feature to be updated and more compatible with Android devices, because I'd love to put like a little Starfleet logo. And then I've got my nerdy the communicator badge that's just sort of permanently stuck to my shirt. This one's been really tough for me because I've been trying to hide these microphones. I've been using them periodically throughout my podcast recordings, and especially for any videos where you're mostly just seeing my hands, I've been using these mics for that too. And a couple people have actually commented on the change in my audio just from switching over from the Rode Wireless Go 2 to one of these microphones, filling out a little bit of that extra low end. Very much enjoyed my time with these microphones. I know audio gear can start to look a little pricey, but it's one of the most major improvements you can make to any of your videos. And again, like I said, especially if you want to start doing things that are a little bit more interactive, collaborative, you want to go from vlogging to more interviews or documentary style footage, a microphone upgrade like this can be incredible. I will, of course, leave some links down below. More information on the Saramonic, these microphones right here. They have a couple other options too at a variety of price points. You can check them out. And it's this style of microphone that I think really makes a significant jump in your, not only in your capabilities, not only in your audio quality, but in your flexibility. Fast setup, fast connection, get in, record, do your vlog, do your interview, pop right back out again. This stuff is great. So folks, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, subscribing to the channel. All the support lately has been absolutely fantastic. If you've been clicking on links in my video descriptions or visiting my home site, SomeGadgetGuy.com, or if you're joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This list is basically the coolest collection of tech pals in the Omniverse. So I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know you can find me around the rest of the internet at SomeGadgetGuy. A little less on the Twitters. I stream my podcast on the Twitch. I'm spending a bit more time on the Mastodons and trying to revive a Flickr account, but not so much on the Instagrams or the Facebooks. And I will catch you all on the next video.